And I mean, I hear you talking about you had conversations with people in Yeovil. You know, you were connected. Everyone was welcoming at that time, right? And now
welcoming, but still careful.
Kind of like, okay,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and you kind of have to be, right? Because you can't just be like trusting in every kind of sense. Like, oh yeah, man, he's just another brother of ours. He's got black skin, so come through, right?
Right.
But we now dealing with this whole thing of xenophobia now. You know, which is a huge issue, man. And, you know, fortunately for me is, you know, I spent some time when I was in college, when I was in varsity, and I got to meet these different cultures, right? But I'll tell you, you know, I'll call it a joke, you know, running jokes, because we didn't know better at the time, right? And we saw this Nigerian lady. She was like blue-black, man. Right. And we couldn't understand it because it was our first time seeing that. And we were laughing at that lady, right? But like after that, I was like, man, but how inhumane is that, KG? Like, how can you do that? You know, we had to go to her and apologize, man, because she ended up staying on the same residential area as us. So we were like, hey, man, you know, we saw you the other day in our queue, and we started laughing at you. We didn't get it. But now that we're talking to you, we're connecting, like, oh, man, we can hear, like, such a beautiful person in there, right? So how do you think this whole xenophobia thing is, and how does it affect you? Were you seeing it and it's like, man, I was welcomed in here with, like, yeah, sure, with some careful stuff, but like at the same time, like no one really kind of looked at me as like, nah, dude, this person's like an outcast. We don't want to welcome him in our space. Yeah,
it's very sad, the xenophobia thing, man, and I take it quite personally because I tell my wife all the time, it's a harsh word and it's a word that she doesn't like to hear me say, but I'm also a Makwete.
Oh man.
I'm also a Makwete.
Well, we don't look at Americans
and
Italians in them like that.
That's
right?
my point. Oof. That's my point. I mean, now we're going back to a whole apartheid sort of concept of honorary white. So are you saying that I'm an honorary black or an honorary white or an honorary Chinese? I am WarriorRic, right? I am born of two Panamanian parents. I am an Afro-Latino and then evolved into this South African-American person. Xenophobia is cutting us off at our legs, and it's not allowing us to evolve as a people. And the frustration that I have with that is it goes back to the Khoi and the San. And when I look at the cradle of humankind, the original man that happens to be from this beautiful nation, this holy nation we call South Africa, we've lost the plot in terms of how we could be celebrating humanity from the cradle, right, to the ancestors, call it the grave, right, to the ancestors that have brought everything together in this place. I mean, the way South Africans across all tribes spend so much time at the grave and spend so much time mourning and so many different traditions and the whole bit, they understand both the flesh and the spirit. Yes, better than most in Western circles. But why is it that the Nigerian woman or the Ghanaian or the Ugandan, but more and more what we're finding is it's our Zimbabwean brothers at the border who are Ndebele who are Shona. And the thing is that that's take the border out. It's just there. It's, you know what we say? It's just there. It's just now, it's just there. Man. So at what point are we going to drop this pose? Everybody knows you are naked underneath your clothes. Stop trying to be something you're not. Your authenticity comes from making mistakes, from being vulnerable, from being exposed. Your vulnerability isn't about, being called a Makwete. Your vulnerability doesn't come from the fact that, because you're wearing a different outfit or a look that you must get laughed at. Man. We need to get into the vulnerability about what have you gone through with your wife? What have you gone through with your children? What have you gone through in your career when you were fired, when you were hired? That's the type of things that we should be talking about. Yeah, we got to talk about the way I speak. Man. My accent is more important. Man. The physical clothes I wear is more important. Come on, let's drop these two prejudicial eyes and start using the spiritual third eye to start going deeper and finding the love, the ubuntu that is in people. That is the opportunity. There's so much we can learn from our African brothers and sisters. There's so much we can learn from what has been written, but we avoid it because it's unusual, it's different, it's unique. That's why you should be reading it. Valuing diversity means that because it's different, I want to learn more about it. Get out of these echo chambers.
Yes, sir.
In these echo chambers, you're going to continue to believe what you believe, do what you do based on what your mama and daddy said. Do you think that your mother and father were 100% correct? Do you think your religion is 100% not flawed? Remember, religion is finite. It has a win and loss area in it. It is how you interpret it. It's how you engage with it. It's how you believe in it that then when it's shared with others, you find out if you can have that infinite spirit that gets us not only to the promised land, but helps bring other people along while we're living. The promised land while we're living is not just the promised land after life, after death.
Yeah.
But it's about that promised land that we can experience now. We should be prospering. And we're not prospering because we become narcissistic. We become to ourselves, me, and for my own. So our own little encanlas that we've built, we said, this is mine, you get yours. And it's because we look the same, we walk the same, we talk the same, and that doesn't build and grow and develop and help us to progress as a people.
Man. And I know you speak about your wife being a Mosotho, right?
Yeah.
Man. And that's such a, I love Sotho people, or I'm a Tswana person, right?
Yeah,
so
we're
like
same ilk.
pretty much right there.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And you speak about how peaceful they are, man. Do you find like these sort of indigenous tribes, if I may call them that, if we had to go back and tap into that energy, we can then bring out our authenticity a little bit more, right?
I do it all the time.
Because I mean, if you're on social media, we go on social media right now, everyone is positive on social media.
Right.
And I mean, that's, I'm going to say it's a front for most people.
Sure.
I know there are people who are doing it like for real. It's genuine stuff. I want to inspire people. I want to empower and all of that type of stuff. But if you really had to dig into like the person, they don't actually live those values on a daily. Whereas like you go to the homelands, they don't even need to like go preach to you on social media. You can just speak to them and you're connecting like, wow, man, this is a totally different experience I'm getting out of here. So how do you think we can use culture now to bring back that authenticity into our conversation even?
Yeah. I think it's the behavior. I think, the culture that you're talking about is less about what they're saying. It's more about what they're doing. The importance of water. We are blessed in Gauteng to have Lesotho and the Highlands Project. If it were not for Lesotho, we would be starving for water.
Man.
We'd be beyond thirsty.
Man.
But it's because of the Lesotho Highlands Project that we have water. Now, what I find fascinating about water is that it is the giver of life. And when I think about what Basutus do to get water, because there aren't pipes and valves and, you know what I mean, that are coming down from the mountain. You got to go to the mountain. So anytime I'm at Mama's place, there in Pitseng, I get to go fetch water.
Man.
Listen to what I said. I didn't say I have to.
You get to.
I get to. I'm blessed.
Come on, man.
I'm blessed. I'm there. I'm right where it is, but I still got to walk 2 kilometers to get to the water. But in that walk, I get to share with other people that I am blessed and highly favored. And they get to do the same. Dumela, Likai, Hamonate, Kaliwu. And when we do that, all we're doing is we're making the journey easier.
Yes, sir.
Because 2 kilometers sounds like a lot until you start saying Dumelang, Likai, Bondate, Hamonate, Mudimute. And you can hear it from every corner.
Yeah.
And they know what you're doing.
Sounds like rhyme, but even saying it's like,
brother,
man.
they know what
you're calling out the gods there, man.
They know that you are doing work, but we're so afraid of work because we keep saying we have to. And yet, when I ask my children, where does water come from? They turn the tap. And that's the problem. It's gotten too easy. It's gotten too convenient. The easier it gets, the more convenient it becomes, the more we fall into an e-wally, mentality. Soon we all going to be on scooters. The scooters have arrived, by the way. The scooters are arriving at the door. You need food? Call the scooter.
Call the
scooter right.
Yep.
You hear them at the door. Beep, beep. You hear the scooters more and more. We thought it was just the COVID dynamic, but now post-COVID, there's more scooters than ever. Mr. Delivery is making huge amounts of money. God bless him. But we need to start going to fetch water. We need to start fetching our food, cooking our food, because that culture of earning it, even Black Label says there's more reward at the end of the day. So why are you popping bottles at 7:30 in the morning?
Come on.
So you can celebrate and have a cold beverage, but why don't you at least go work out, take a walk, go fetch some water before you start popping bottles? And this is the problem with social media when you talk about the positivity, that I think the facade is really in the celebration before you actually do the work. We're not showing the hard work. We're not showing, what's happening behind the scenes. And it's not for everybody to show it. I mean, I even have a problem taking my phone into the gym. I want people to see my workout, but it's just, like I said, it's a bit awkward with selfie stick and the whole bit. But I'm training. I'm getting 4 days in at the gym, 2 days on the weekend with my wife running. Why? Because I enjoy the work. I'm whistling while I work. I'm doing along while I work. I'm greeting folks while I work. I'm doing that because I know that that's part of the process on a daily basis to get it. So culturally, I didn't necessarily learn it in the Lesotho Mountains, but I was able to practice it as a grown man with my Basotho family. And it goes beyond water, but water I brought up because that's life. But even the making of a bed on the floor with the Lesotho blankets and learning from my father-in-law, God rest his soul, how they used to dig holes in the ground to refrigerate food. Right? So I was like, how do you keep it? Right? And talking about how he used to even put his feet in mud pies, which was dung. It was really the cow dung, putting their feet in the cow dung to keep their feet warm in winter because it snows in Lesotho. But as boys, they didn't have shoes. They had sandals if they were lucky, but they typically walked around barefoot. But they would put their feet in cow dung to keep warm. So we need to get to an appreciation of what we have. There's no doubt about it. Yes, we need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. We got to stop this whole thing around convenience and start recognizing those things that are sometimes inconvenient are for our good.
Man, talking about doing the hard work, man. And I'm part of a group now. Don't want to put the name out there because it's something a little bit confidential. So I don't want to put them out on blast right now. But we talk about this, how hard it is for men to show up and do the work, man, that really requires you to actually step up and be the man that you want to be, the man that you know when you're sitting at home right now, even listening to this, bro, you know who you want to be, right? When you go to bed every night, there's that thing that keeps on waking you up, and you're not doing it because you're not manning up to your situation to be the person, right? And instead, that comes out as abuse and all of these other, foul things that we see in our societies, right? So when you're talking about doing the hard work and celebrating before that, people always blame American culture. It's like, yeah, we see these rappers do it all the time, right? How do you feel about that, man?
Why are you blaming the rappers? Why are they blaming the rappers?
I swear to God, it's like these rappers are like, ruining our community. They're ruining our kids, man. And it's like, well, yeah, you could say that to an extent, but I could equally say there's like rappers are actually empowering your kids, man. Yeah. But why do you think like this American culture gets such a bad rep? Universally, even the Western culture, actually, I was just going to say American culture, but Western culture is getting such a bad rep just for, I guess, poisoning minds, poisoning youth, and not really giving the positive message for men to actually like step into your power. Yeah. And, don't go for the easy stuff. Go for the hard stuff. You're talking about as typical, simple example. You're not gonna go work for your food like men used to do back then. You're gonna get mad at a guy with a scooter for being 5 minutes late with your pizza.
So true. True.
So what do you think of that whole concept, man? And why is America such a example for world culture even? Yeah.
2 words. 2 words. As you were blaming, right? Blaming Americans, blaming Western culture, blaming rappers. Some people blame their parents. Some people blame the communities they grew up in. But there are 2 words. It's the hardest thing God ever gave us. Free will.
Man.
You got a choice. You got a choice. When I became a man and had children, I can still see my kids in the rearview mirror in the back. And, the words would start coming through the speakers, right? Bitch and hoe and, and I got girls, I got boys as well. But, and I just said, not on my watch, not in my car, not on my time. So free will has become a thing where we have trusted the wrong people. You can't trust folks who don't have your best interests at heart. If it's about making money, then you already know there's a problem. We are doing this right now, not to make money. We are doing this to change lives, including our own. Money is a byproduct It is a facilitator. It's a currency. It flows in and it flows out. The minute it becomes the goal, right? It's not money that is the root of all evil. It's the love of money that is the root of all evil. So free will gives us the opportunity to choose. And when I think about the choices that I've made in life, I have made mistakes so that I could be better. I have no regrets in life.
Yes, sir.
Only lessons.
Yes, sir.
And we need to recognize that blaming and pointing fingers at folks puts 3 fingers pointing back at you. That you need to look at yourself and find out, why are you the way you are? If it's because of rap music, turn it off. But I have found rap music that has empowered me.
Yes,
Chuck D from Public Enemy, some of Tupac's music. Some of it I don't listen to. I'm from Oakland, California, so love Digital Underground, love Tupac, but some of his music I won't play.
Sure.
I'm gonna obviously play Dear Mama, clearly, right? I'm even gonna play Keep Your Head Up.
Yes, sir.
You know, one of his first hits, because I find it inspiring, I find it motivating. I don't particularly like a lot of cursing. Personally, it's not even about children, even when I was a young man. Not a huge fan of Richard Pryor, Red Fox, or even Eddie Murphy because of the nature of the language. I feel that we need to be more creative with language, and it doesn't take a whole lot of creativity to just be MF and MF and MF and MF and MF. I didn't get the joke because I'm distracted by the MF. That's me. That's my thing. Are you with me?
I'm with you, bro.
So we need to start choosing what we want. We need to start speaking what we're going after. If you're a skier, and I got this from Simon Sinek, who I dig. You must look him up. He's a fantastic entrepreneur, professor, and he does a lot of business talks. And one of the ones he talks about is that if you tell a skier on a slope to avoid the trees, they run into the trees.
Yep.
If you tell that same skier to stay on the path of the snow, don't even mention the trees. They have a lovely experience down that hill.
Man.
You can tell a pilot that in the air, you can tell that to anyone. Why do we keep focusing on the obstacles? We need to focus on the path that will get you there with its obstacles. The obstacles are still there. We're not oblivious to them. But we need to start recognizing that there are guardrails along the path. And as parents and as leaders, as big brothers, as cousins, we need to start expanding those guardrails and bringing those guardrails in. But everybody's got to have their path. So I'd say stop pointing fingers, stop blaming. It's not rap culture. It's not even Western philosophy.
Yeah.
Why not celebrate Ubuntu? Why not talk about your African philosophy? Why not tell me, what does Hotsofela mean? Explain it to me. Break it down to me. And then we can talk about how we can combat the darkness with light. Even if it's a spark, it's enough.
We just need sparks, though.
We need sparks, brother.
Sir.
We need sparks. And I think that we stay too focused on the darkness, that's what keeps us in the dark. Don't be afraid of the light. Marianne Williamson's poem said it best, and Nelson Mandela made it famous, that it is not the darkness we're afraid of. It's the light. We're afraid to be in the light, put our light up on a hill. We're afraid to rap, and yet we're a rapper. Why don't you rap about something that maybe is positive?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you write about something that can uplift? Why can't you sing a song that is going to help people to be better?
Because they ain't popping, Rick. They ain't popping, man.
We should be about service. We should be serving humankind with our gifts. And the only way we can do that is we need to stop focusing on the obstacles and start focusing on the path to light and to success and to a life that is of prosperity.
Man, I love that, man. You know, you spoke about something now that's, I look at the country and I look at fatherhood. And, worldwide, man, universally, they talk about this. Fatherhood is, the reason why a lot of our problems are existing in society. And, one of the biggest contributors to that is obviously how fathers contribute, or provision, let's call it that, right? And provision, we look at it as money. So there's a whole belief tied around money. And you mentioned it now as you were speaking. You're saying that money is a byproduct. It's a facilitator for us to be able to do stuff, right? So like, how do we get people to kind of change that belief around money? Because if I've never had it, I don't even understand the concept of like, this is a facilitator. Like, nah, dude, I'm just trying to grab. Yeah, sure, I'll splurge here and there. I'll give money to like a guy on the side of the road, and I'll put that on my Instagram as well, just to let the people know. Like,
I'm a good person.
I'm a good person. right. And we did this exercise in one of the other groups that I'm part of. It's like, well, what's your belief around money? You know, what did your parents teach you about money? What do you believe about money?
Sure.
And I was like, oh man, this is so fascinating. I need to take this to some of my friends. But when I asked that question, I was like, geez, dude, like, what are you even talking about, man? Right? Yeah. So how do we get that concept of like, dude, don't just look at money. Don't bury your gifts and go chase money. Because when you're 60, when you're 65, and you look back, you're like, man, I did all this chasing, but like my heart, man, you know, talking now that leading to suicide, right?
Right, 100%.
Right? Because my heart's been in the wrong place, and now I feel so empty because I've been chasing this buck this whole time. But like, man, when I look back there, it's like, shit, I didn't even impact anyone in my life, man. It's always been about me.
You said it right there. You can't leave a legacy if you're chasing money. You know, you can't, if you don't pay rent for your time here on earth, you can't really show yourself approved in terms of living a full life. Because rich is just a moment. I mean, if you eat a cheesecake that is rich, you say, ooh, that's so rich, I can't even have any more. Man. We should start doing that with money. It's like, you know, I don't need all of that. That's too much for me. I'm going to need to dish it.
Come on.
I need to dish that out because I can't eat all of that. That's too much. But we eating to the point that not only are we obese, we eating to the point where we can't even focus on anything else but the money. So we only focus on how I can get more. Because remember, the more money you get, the more problems, right? You know the story. And it's a rap song.
It's a rap song.
Man,
look at that lesson, right? Just like boom, right there.
More money, more problems. So what we need to do is, as we see money as a byproduct, is think of it this way. I love this concept of inheritance, that when you leave an inheritance, you shouldn't leave an inheritance to your children. You should rather leave an inheritance to your grandchildren, because your children, you should have been able to teach them the lessons in order to make money. So they don't need the money. They've already got the lessons and the learnings and the knowledge to make money, but help the grandchildren. Think of it in terms of the fisherman.
Yes, sir.
Right? So if I give you a fish, you eat for a day. That's wonderful. If I give you R1 million, that's fantastic. But you can blow R1 million at the dealership right now, easily. Even 2 million ain't enough for some of the cars that they got on the market.
Yes, sir.
So eating for a day is not the goal. The goal is learning the technique, learning how to fish so that you can eat for a lifetime. And that's what we should be about. We should be about serving mankind, serving humankind, so that communities can eat for a lifetime, can then share that. Yeah. We are blessed to be a blessing. We're not blessed to bless ourselves. We're blessed to bless others. And that's why I think it's important for us to look at money in a way that is a facilitator, look at it in a way that you can build more resources toward the things we need. What do we need in society? Yeah, we need love. There's no doubt about it. But it's hard to love when you're hungry, right? A hungry man is an angry man. So we need to make sure that our children, especially in early childhood development, that they eat first before you give them a book. Don't give them a bunch of books. And they got to eat.
Come on.
You got to make sure they got food.
Come on, man.
And this is where we getting down to the basics. We're getting to the biblical times, right? People talk about the end times. Well, I don't know if these are the last of the last days. I don't have that crystal ball. But I know it's biblical times because every time as an entrepreneur, I think about the flow in and flow out of money, I realize that I become a stronger spiritual being because I don't rely on man for my gifts. I rely on the Spirit. And so I've had to learn how to create and innovate and reform without money. And I can do it. Man. I can go out into my backyard and do it. Man. I've done the hard spade work with no money in the bank account. And guess what's happened? I get showered with blessings, and those blessings give me goosebumps. They don't necessarily fill my bank account, but the goosebumps are what allow me to keep going. We're playing the infinite game here. Yes, we're trying to stay in the game. We don't want to drop out of the game because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. We want to, in the present moment, do everything we can, and every ounce of our being needs to be about empowering ourselves as we empower others. Because when we do that, we're allowing tomorrow to bring a brighter day.
Yes, sir.
But just invest in the present. Just invest your time and your energy in the present. The money will follow, but more importantly, the wealth will follow. And in wealth, we get wisdom, we get prosperity, we get love, we get affection, we get the joy that we had within now is out there because people say, man, you're just always so full of energy. Energy is spirit. I'm a spirit being. I'm living in abundance. I claim it even before I sit down here.
Yeah, man.
Blessed and highly favored.
Come on, bro. And we talk about now, you're talking about it being energy, man. I'm like, you know, wealth for me is youth, man.
Yeah.
You even look younger, bro. You feel young. You even dress like, you know what I mean? Like people expect like WarriorRic to walk in here like all suited up. It's like, nah, bro. This is me, right?
This is who I am, brother.
Man.
This is who I am.
Man.
I'll be 58 years old in 2 weeks' time. Right?
Come on, man.
And it's a reminder. It's a clock. It's time. And it's just made me more emphatic about life. I'm living on purpose. I'm living on my purpose. I'm living on my wife and my shared purpose. The work that I do with the youth is based on leaving the world a better place, that I can see my legacy through them.
Yeah.
I've had children come up to me and say, I remember when you spoke at our school, and I can feel it now, bro.
Come on.
I can feel it. Just that whole energy of them saying, thank you for passing the baton. And you know what? I don't need somebody to tell me I'm a good person. I'm a great person. God is great, and I'm made in his image. That makes me great by nature. I walk it like I talk it. And I don't need validation. I self-validate. And those who validate me, like the woman who did at the gym today, she says, you look good. I take it. I receive it. It's a wonderful thing. But I'm not waiting on somebody else to make me happy.
Yes,
I'm not waiting on somebody else to validate my work. I seek goodness and greatness in everyone. I had a business partner, ask me yesterday, he says, how do I move away from this cynicism? How do I get out of this jaded behavior of looking at people like they just want my money? And I said, the only way to do this is you are going to have to respect the fact that you are just as vulnerable as them.
Yes, sir.
They are just as vulnerable as you. That in our vulnerability, God will protect us, that the universe will conspire in our favor. But the minute we hold on and we grab onto things, we can't be blessed because we got two fists that will not let anything in. Open your hands and allow the Spirit to work through you. And God will discern those people who need to be with you. And he will discern who you need to speak to and who you need to hang out with. And that's how I've been living my life. Yeah, very casual, right? Casual, tackies, shorts, T-shirt as you see me now. But strong and kind.
Man.
I'm strong and kind. I have a critical mind and a compassionate heart. I'm not either or. I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm not black or white. I am human. And I am of many different styles, from rap to rock, from classical to R&B. And in that diversity, I find who I am. So I'm authentically me, but changing all the time.
Yes, sir.
And I don't suffer from multiple personality disorders, but I know that I don't speak like this to my wife. I know that I don't speak to my children this way. I'm speaking to you in a podcast. So I know who I am and who I am here. There are two things. You can know who you are, but you need to know who you are in the circumstances and in the situation.
And you spoke about something now is our humanity, man. Having that balance, being able to be different things, but still remember that, at the top of it is, man, I'm human. Before I'm a man, I'm human, bro. But we stick to this, especially in African culture. Or let me not say everyone in African culture, because it's going to get me in a lot of trouble. But a lot of men.
Get in trouble, brother. It's okay. Make a mistake.
It's
Trip
okay,
over yourself
right?
from time to time.
Right?
Let them phone you now and say, I saw on Manned Up Conversations. That's good PR.
Yes, sir.
That's
Come
good
on.
PR.
Well, let's have that conversation.
Have that
then.
conversation.
Come on.
Maybe it is African, And is it is it sub-Saharan Africa? Is it Southern Africa? Well, there's an African culture that exists. It's called the African diaspora. That is the world. If this is the cradle of humankind, we need to start celebrating the fact that this is where man started, and this may be where they end, because it looks like Europe and America is on their way. And China and Russia are coming too. For what? For the natural resources that we have. It's not just diamonds. It's not just gold. It's not just platinum. It's not just copper. It's our hearts that they're trying to take away, bro. So here's the thing. Why not speak if that's what you feel, brother? If you feel like it's African, say it. I'll tell a Burki, I'll tell a white Englishman, if they are born and raised in Africa, I'll tell them, you African.
Sure.
You need to start behaving that way. Celebrate your African culture.
Get out of
Celebrate
this
who
stuff
you
you're
are.
attaching to yourself. Man.
Come on, bro.
Come on, man. man. So I'm talking about that, like, you know, people forget like stuff like vulnerability. You know, for like some men, it's like, oh, what the hell are you talking about, man? I'd be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, that's like,
I ain't gonna get naked up in here.
Get naked up in here. And, you know, we've had some instances where it's like, there's a guy I spoke to on the pod. I think we were talking about drama therapy. It was like, man, I'm teaching men how to cry, man. You know, it's like men who are like the staunch Zulu man who's like, what the hell are you talking about? I must cry, you know? So like those simple human feelings, you know, showing affection to your wife, man. They men, my friends who I know, I've never seen this guy kiss his wife. Like, dude, what the hell do you do with this woman when you're indoors, bro? If you can't love her in front of everyone, you can't celebrate her, you know? So how do you see like this whole thing? It's like, do you even see that? Because when I look at you, I don't think you're someone who's gonna be like, yeah, I don't hold my wife's hand in public, man. I'm gonna just let her walk behind me, you know? But our dads are like that, man. It's like you don't see your dad embracing your mom like that.
Correct.
So you know, the youngins are doing it, you know, I love that. But you know, a lot of them are growing up with this kind of mentality of like, I can't do that in front of my parents.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
When you're with your girlfriend now, it's like, oh shit, this guy is totally different now. It's like, what's going on? It's a parent, man. You know? And it's old culture, like I say. It's men don't see themselves as human beings, man. We see ourselves as like these, we gotta feed, we gotta go out there and lead, we gotta do all of these things that end up putting us in a grave, right? Because we put on all of these cloths and fake ass everything that doesn't belong to who we are as humans, right? So how do you think we can celebrate that humanity more as men and highlight those, you know, frail sides of ourselves? There's nothing wrong with being a weak guy, man. And I think calling it a weak guy is like,
what does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, even when you say weak, immediately people listening is going, what do you mean by weak? You know, there's this word subservient. I mean, it's in the Bible, right? Subservient. And I am of two minds of it, or not even two minds. I'm frustrated by it, you know, because you disagree with the Bible. How can you disagree with the Bible, right? It's more of a frustration because I'm still trying to figure this one out. That you know, wives, be subservient unto your husbands, and you know, we get away with it because then we say, but you know, as men, we are subservient to the church and to Christ. But you know, my brother, this thing around authenticity is when you really are being who you are and who you are meant to be. I feel like it does work itself out in the universe, that God will work through the messages and the behavior and everything that you should be. You don't have to put on. The minute you put on, it's so obvious. Yes, you know, I am subservient in my relationship with my wife in many instances, and I love it. I absolutely love that I don't have to take some of the accountability that she takes. You know, she's the drill sergeant. You know, everyone sees me as the David Goggins, as the drill sergeant.
Yes,
at home, my wife is the drill sergeant. She's the disciplinarian. She's throwing it. She's bringing down the gauntlet. And she's like, it's my way or the highway type. That's not me. It's not my style. It never has been.
Oh, man.
You know, I avoid confrontation, and I'm learning to be more assertive, not aggressive, but more assertive, not only with my wife, but with my children and with communities. But I'm the one, and when I say communities, neighbors, right? You know, I'm the one who typically just wants everyone to be cool and calm and relaxed. Let's get along. But the reality is that, you know, not everything is my job. You know, my passion and my purpose is not your passion and your purpose. So what I find is that God puts me in places and in situations to learn, but also to recognize where my role is. You ever heard the term slow your roll?
Yes, sir.
I like that. Slow your roll. Yes, know what your role is by slowing it down a little bit and trying to understand who you are and who you are here. So my wife has called on me on several occasions to bring the discipline. Why? Because she's the daily disciplinarian. But now when you have to get to that point where talk is done and you have to now really bring it down, she's going to call on me. And I have found, and when I speak especially to my younger children, they say they're scared of Mommy Joyce. But it's interesting that they're not afraid of me because there's a lot of play. But when I speak, I only have to say it once. So there are roles. So men, this is for you. It's not about being strong and mighty. It's about being strong and kind. You've got to get the balance right. If you don't have compassion, if you're not open to new and fresh ways of thinking from your children and from your extended family, you can't grow. If you're only strong, you become rigid and you will break. And this is what we're finding in society. And for my absent fathers, you're missing your blessing because you have decided to be strong by being away so you don't have to deal with it, but rather be kind and seek forgiveness so that you can be blessed, because it's a blessing to be a parent. And you're missing your blessing. I'm watching children that I'm raising that are not my own seeds. I'm seeing how I'm getting blessed and how they are affirming the blessing. And there's nothing better than an affirmation that you are doing good for someone else. And this is what I would love to see our men do, is to recognize that their participation, being strong and kind, being part of the subservience and the dominance, being part of the push me, pull you, of the balance of both things, that where they get so much love is that there will always be the go-go, always be the auntie, always be the wife that says, that's our man. And brother, when I go to Lesotho, when I go to Davidton, when I go to Wattville, they see me as that man. And do you know why? Because I've decided just to be who I am. I don't have to kill the fatted calf. I don't have to cut it. But they ask me to pray. I'm the one that does the prayers. I'm the one who is the MC and the one who does the prayers of the funeral. That's my role. That's what I'm called to do. I even do the programs. Can you put the words together in the program? Of course, because I'm a man about words. Words are a creative force. And I'm trying to create a space for people in my family to know that is my role. And I don't even have to ask for it. I mean, it's given to me. And yet there's an uncle who will go out and find the fatted calf, as we say, right? And there's another uncle that will carve it. There's another uncle who will make sure that we got enough cold beers. There's another uncle. Everyone's got their place. So you will find your role by getting lost in your passion to find your purpose.
Find your passion to find your purpose.
Get lost in your passion.
Get lost in your
go wild and free.
Oh man.
Go wild and free.
Oh man.
And in that desert and in that jungle and in that wildness, you will find where you're supposed to be. You will find your reason why.
But do you think we're afraid to lose ourselves though?
Of course we are. We're worried about what it looks like. We're worried about what it looks like, and do I have enough powder? Am I shining? And is it and I'm guilty of it. I mean, I want to look good. I want to be impressive, but impress yourself. You said it yourself, Rick. We don't have to go after likes. We are in this game right now to market our services as Manned Up Conversations, as WarriorRic. We want to influence people. We want to amplify our brands. But you told me something very powerful. Don't worry about the likes.
Man.
Go after the love.
Yes, sir.
The one person that sees this and says, I love you. I love you, Manned Up Conversations. I love you, WarriorRic, is enough. That understanding, that empathy, and that ability for them to then share that with somebody else is enough.
Come on, man.
That's enough. We need to start allowing God to do the work of amplification and stop thinking that we're the ones that are going to amplify it by likes. Likes is surface, brother. And we need less surface conversations. We need to start going deep.
Come on, man. And now talking about going deep, Rick, everyone knows you're speaking about David Goggins right now, man. Everyone knows you for like fitness, man, and being out there, taking charge and doing things, doing the hard stuff, right?
Sure.
So let's talk about how you've used like fitness, man, to kind of feed your spirit. And equally to kind of impact other people through that. Because I think if you are good in your own body, in your own mind, in your own spirit, then it's only a matter of time before everyone else kind of like, oh man, we want to do more of that, right?
Yeah.
So how does that play out for you?
There are 4 areas, right? It's a recent post that I did has been on my heart and my mind for quite a while, and it's just been sitting with me, and I'll share this with you first, because I think it encapsulates this concept of fitness. You need to be mindful of what you take into your body. That's nutrition. So it's water and it's food, right? So it's nutrition, right? But it's also the air you breathe and all. But so everything that you consume, you need to be mindful of it. That's the first thing. It's not in any particular order, but nutrition first. The second thing is movement. We need to be careful, again, words. It's not about exercise per se or gym per se or lifting weights or running. It's movement. We've been sitting now for a while. There are people who sit in offices too long. The sitting is a problem. You need to get up and you need to go move. I envy smokers, not because of the smoke they're putting in their lungs, but the fact that they take breaks. The fact they go out and get fresh air, they move around, they talk, they even come up with great ideas, these smokers. Why? Because they've gotten off that laptop screen and they've gone out to see the world, see the trees, see the sun, breathe the air to get the concepts, the innovations, the newness, the new thoughts. So movement is so vital. Go take a walk. The third thing is sleep and rest.
Oh, that's my challenge right there, man.
We are not getting enough sleep. And there have been so many studies on the importance of getting a good night's sleep. And we've always known 8 hours of sleep is the magic number. We know that. They say a minimum of 7. But even in that sleep, everything needs to be off. The temperature in your room needs to be cool, below 20 degrees Celsius. Not above. Windows open, fresh air, right? And you need to even have weight on you. There's some gravity blankets that are on the market now that stay cool, but they put weight on you. You need to be incubated for your 8 hours. You need to shut things off. Shut things down so that your imagination, the Bible talks about they will have visions, they will have dreams. We dream every night, but nobody's got a vision. It's because you didn't write it down in the morning. You didn't get down that dream. You can't even remember the dream because you didn't go deep enough. You weren't allowing the subconscious mind to do its work, right? The rest thing is not only why you sleep, the rest is sometimes just lying horizontally. Get out of that seated position and lie down on the couch. You can still read a book. You can still meditate. You can pray. But get into a comfortable position where you can have 10 minutes rest, 15-minute rest, 20-minute rest. Even take a nap if you can. The last one is prayer and meditation. So related to sleep and rest, but now this is active. This is very conscious. This is a thing where you block out all the noise and you just allow silence. It's called solitude. When you are with other people, you can't create the way you can when you are in solitude. Frida Kahlo said that I draw self-portraits because most of the time I'm alone. She found herself in her paintings, not because she was narcissistic, not because she was a lover of selfies. It's because she was finding herself in painting herself. We need to start finding ourselves by writing, by painting, by doing poetry, by rapping, by ourselves. Then you can go into the studio. But do it alone first. Prayer and meditation is critical to our being. So those 4 areas of nutrition, movement, sleep and rest, and prayer and meditation give us energy. This is what people are missing out on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm tired, but it's not time to go to sleep. I'm hungry, but it's not time to eat. It's because you're bored and you're not using that boredom in a productive and proactive way. So we need to carve out our day in those 24 hours that we have. 8 hours is for the sleep. 8 hours is for the work. You got a whole nother 8 hours that you can practice good nutrition, practice movement, practice meditation and prayer. You've got all of these opportunities. What are you doing with it?
And I hear, man, Rick, before we end off, man, you training some up and coming superstars, man. So what's your involvement in that?
I've been asked by parents in the basketball fraternity at St. John's College to come in and to help support them. They just recently had the St. John's annual tournament at their school. And they just asked me to come in and speak to the boys and give them some guidance and to give them things. Coaching is an interesting thing because you got the technical coaches that have got to make sure that the boys learn the fundamentals and they learn how to win from getting those fundamentals right. I'm a mental performance coach, so I get in folks' heads and I'm just, I'm about energy and I'm about, doing the things that you need to fortify your mental fortitude. And that's what I did with the boys at St. John's College for their tournament. Most recently with rugby, it was with the Centurion High School first team, who just beat De Vilches last Saturday. Okay. So I came in and gave them some energy of that vitamin B injection, of just boost and boldness, and to make sure that they get the best out of their experience and their fun. I talked about intuition, which is just experience. That gut feel is your experience. So practice more to get more experiences. Make more mistakes early so that you can get the experience, and learn how to win and learn. Every time you show up, it's a winning opportunity and it's a learning opportunity. So more parents are seeing the value. They're seeing the value in, in having me show up. It's not necessarily the school or an organization, but, parents saying, hey, we'd love to support your work by you supporting our boys. So it's an exchange of my gift for time and money to be able to help them. And what I'm finding is that that's where the future lies, is that it's not just in our children, but it's in our scholar athletes who are going through the trenches and going through the grind. So it's a beautiful thing to watch the kids get out there and to compete, and which they couldn't do during COVID. And now they're out there competing and taking out some of that testosterone to be able to, use that for good and not for some nonsense. So it's wonderful to see them practicing and getting out there at game time to be their best.
Man, I love that, man. And those are some wonderful parting words right there, man. WarriorRic, Ricardo, my brother, I'm awesomely excited, man. I'm glad you came here, dropped the knowledge, dropped a whole lot of learnings for if you're listening to this, man, I'm pretty sure, man, I'm sure you're gonna hit some push-ups right after this. You're gonna get your meal right after this. You're gonna sleep right after this.
Yes.
You're just gonna get your mind right, man. Start meditating, start doing all the good stuff that you need. Find the balance that you need in your life, man. But from myself, my brother, I learned a lot from you.
Thank
I know.
You, brother.
I don't want to just make this a conversation, a podcast. We'll be in touch way after this. We got a couple of things that I want to do with you.
Fantastic.
For Amanda family, man. And
100%. And folks need to know they can reach out to you. I'm sure, KG, you open that they can reach if they've got a question, they got a concern. I mean, I've had people reach out to me that are suicidal, people that are having suicidal thoughts, people that are having a tough time. It's not just a performance, man. Life is really it's not a rehearsal. Life is tough. It's hard. So we need to be there for each other. So I'm open. If folks want to DM me on Instagram, Facebook, they want to hit me on my website, warriorric.co.za. Just reach out, please. There's a way for us to help each other, and that's we mentioned. One of the ways we do it is we bring a spark. It's just a small little bit of light that can help someone get through a tough time, and I'm open for that, and I look forward to people reaching out to both you and me in order to help them see through the tough times.
Man, you already know you can reach at me, man. We're running the mental health support group through the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, where we're helping some of the guys out there with mental health issues. I know it's not just mental health. Some people are going through divorces, all kinds of stuff, man. So we're open to, we've got a WhatsApp group running. We've got a couple of good mates in there. We've got different ages. We've got a 55-year-old in that group, man, who's schooling us on different things.
Love it.
But the beauty of it is it's intergenerational. So we also feed into his life. He feeds into us. So if you want to be part of that, you feel like you don't have any friends, you're new in town or any of that sort of thing, you need some fitness lessons, you need anything from WarriorRic, man, you need some advice, let us know. We're going to put all the info in the show notes, like I said. Beautiful. And make sure you do the right thing. Reach out, listen to the conversation. Don't just listen for the sake of listening, man. Put the stuff into practice, right?
Move.
Sir. Man, it's been another conversation on Manned Up Conversations. I really appreciate you. Hope to catch you on the flip side. Make sure you do the right thing, man. Peace and love.